Welcome to Rock Shop Talk. Our show talks best practices, fun anecdotes, and the latest cutting-edge technology in our field to kick your screen printing gears into hyperdrive. Today's episode features Wheelin Dealin with Grizzly Wheeler. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be right back.
I want to welcome everybody back to Rock Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today, we are wheeling and dealing with Mr. Grizzly Wheeler of Grizzly Wheeler. His name's Josh, though, but we're going to call him Grizzly for the show. Also joining me today, Mr. King Tilley, Richard Tilley. We're here at ROQ US headquarters in Florida. We got our creative producer, as always, Mr. Merrill Capps. And my most amazing salesperson on the face of the planet, Mr. Rob Welch, also known as Bobby Grapejuice. And I like to call him Bobby Grape Leaves because I just refuse to call him Bobby Grapejuice. But
Star of the Bobby G show right here in the flesh.
Absolutely. So excited to have a great show today. There's going to be some really fun back and forth banter, I am sure, with this crowd, which is exciting. Wanted to go over just some quick ROQ US updates before we jump in, though. We had a huge, awesome trade show at Impressions Long Beach. It was great to get back out there. I want to say there's about probably 4,500 attendees or so. Really well attended show. The floor was hustling and bustling. There was no carpet, which I think everyone's still getting used to. Your feet take a beating now, even more than they used to, but it was good to get back out there and see everyone. We gave away some good awards with Screen Printing Magazine. Just got to network again. It's nice to see the progress. Like it's slower than I would like, but it's good to see that we're all able to get back out there and get back out safe. And the team was safe the entire time. We all stayed COVID free, which I was not planning on, but was very happy that was the case. So
I like seeing that hybrid.
That was great.
That thing in motion was amazing.
Yeah, we had the ROQ Now at the show. We had the hybrid going on the Eco as well. So thanks for everyone that joined us out there at Long Beach. And we'll be in Atlantic City in, I think, about 45 days or so. I don't know the exact dates off the top of my head.
It's the 25th of March, I believe.
Yeah. What were the dates, Merrill?
I think it's 25th of March.
25th of March. Awesome. And yeah, we'll be out in the Vastex booth. So come visit us there in Atlantic City, which is exciting. Trade shows are happening again. It's good to see.
For sure. And anyone who didn't make it out, we will be dropping a recap video of Impressions Long Beach in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. And thanks to all who joined us online as well as in person. It was an amazing event to see everyone. And we also have this super cool giveaway contest going on. We're giving away 2 tickets to the first live screen printing class specific to ROQ automation. It's called Made to ROQ Automation Workshop. It'll be held at Made Lab in Fort Worth, Texas on March 17th and 18th. So St. Patty's Day celebration. The winners will be announced in the ROQ US email digest, which will be announced on Friday, the 25th of February. So be sure to follow at roq.us on Instagram, head to the blog post at roq.us and enter your info into the running to press your luck.
It's awesome. It's going to be a cool class. I just went over the curriculum. We're doing everything automated. So we're going to have automated darkroom with lasers and wax units. We're going to have, all the automatic presses, teaching special effects printing. We're going to be teaching maintenance, which is kind of a cool thing. We're really setting these up so people that want to send their operators or different parts of their business to learn more about the equipment, more on how to maintain it. We'll have a tech at each class. I believe Nicole Hilton will. Oh, she's going to kill me. Nicole.
She is going to kill you.
She's going to kill me. Nicole changed her last name quite some time ago, and I've known Nicole for years and years and years. And I can't. It's so easy to say Hilton because it's what I called her for so long. So anyway, she'll be out there teaching operations, helping people to ROQ equipment.
Nicole
and of course, all the folks at Made Lab doing their thing, teaching great content. So it's going to be really fun.
Did you have a part in the curriculum, Ross?
Do I have a part in the curriculum?
Yeah.
I do not. I'm helping develop the curriculum, though. So I won't physically be there teaching, but yeah, we are doing some business stuff. That was very important to me. So we'll be talking a lot about, probably sales, marketing. We're including some of the business aspect of all this as well, pricing, making sure you're.
I was going to say, because back in the day, you taught some screen printing classes. So how long has it been since you were involved in a curriculum for something along these lines?
Yeah, it's probably been 4 or 5 years. I taught for 9. I mean,
yeah.
So it was a long run, but yeah, it's been a minute. I miss it though. So when we do the one in Florida, well, thanks, Richard. Yeah, couple things have changed for sure. Let's do some introductions. Grizzly, how are you, man?
He keeps turning into that secret character that you have to unlock in the video game every time he leans back.
No,
here we go.
This is the junk room. You not see the moped scooter in the background buried in the boxes.
Wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, man. What are you about? What's your history? What's your past? How'd you get into this game of screen printing? And tell us a little bit about Grizzly.
So I've been doing this about, I think it was 2010. I kind of discovered all this. Randomly met a designer in Florida. I'm originally from Florida, from Jacksonville. Just kind of discovered it by accident. The irony is I actually got shirts made for my when I played in bands, like in the early 2000s, but the light bulb never really went on. And is that real loud in the background? Is that,
a little bit.
Can you hear that?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Comes in and out.
A little bit.
Here, let me shut the door. Okay, there you go. But no, yeah, sorry. Damn AirPods don't work. But yeah, I got into it about 12 years ago. It's just kind of the rest is history. I try and focus on making the best prints versus maybe being the biggest shop. I think we've done okay at that. I think the greatest discipline in this game is if you think you figured it all out, you're probably going to go downhill real quick, because I learn something almost every day doing this still. So yeah. Did I miss anything in
that? I think in one of our past conversations, you mentioned that you actually worked for somebody else. Is that correct?
No, I never. Interestingly enough, I interned at a shop in Orlando called Mama's Sauce, which I don't think is fully functional anymore. But I interned there in 2011, and I never worked at a large shop. But in all honesty, sometimes I think maybe that could have been beneficial to me, because I really had no idea what a blueprint of this was supposed to look like. And I still definitely something I want to start doing is visiting shops, just because it is so fascinating and a great learning experience, because you see things that when you're stuck in tunnel vision every day, you probably wouldn't think of. And it's like, oh, damn. I mean, I see stuff in the videos, the ROQ videos. It's like, oh, damn. Yeah, that's pretty smart. It seems really basic, but I probably would have never thought of that. But yeah.
Yeah. It seems like that's pretty common. I mean, when I go, obviously that's part of my job, right? Is I go around and visit shops and visit, people, either raw clients or prospective raw clients. And, they kind of seem like they're just kind of used to a certain process, and they don't really know any better. And so, you point something out to them, and they don't understand that they're doing anything wrong. And you kind of point out what's not necessarily wrong, but if you try it this way, you could improve an efficiency here and there. And it is mind blowing for them, because they've just done the same thing for so long. They're kind of stuck in this, like you said, tunnel vision, and little tiny ideas can spark big changes that can really be very beneficial.
Yeah. I've been blessed with the opportunity of flying around, seeing all these different shops, building their equipment, learning their techniques. And I get my mind blown all the time. And then I take that with me to the next shop. And I'm like, hey, these guys are doing it like this over here, blowing their mind on the most simple things that you don't realize. You like you said, you get stuck in tunnel vision, don't realize there's other ways of doing things.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Can you give us an example of something recently that kind of blew your mind that you hadn't thought of before?
Are you talking about me?
Oh, I was talking to Josh.
Honestly,
he is the guest. We have to ask him questions.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been, I guess since COVID, I typically go, it's kind of funny because I don't think I was ever really plugged into the print community till maybe a year or so ago, when I think y'all started. Well, I'm sure the ROQ thread's been around a while, but I kind of get introduced into those and a couple others. And so I've kind of been tiptoeing into that whole world, which is really cool. But I haven't directly seen anything in a while just because of COVID. I haven't really traveled. And I typically go to design conferences, and I haven't got to get out to ISS yet, but I definitely am looking forward to visiting. It's kind of funny because some shops are very welcoming and others it's like a hostage situation. They're like, what are you doing here? Are you trying to steal my clients? Like, what's going on? And so
I think that's what's unique about the ROQ family, though. I mean, that's one thing I've noticed is I actually don't know if we have like a closed door client that I can think of off the top of my head that would.
I've only known one in the out of everyone, and it's literally because they're in the middle of nowhere, Canada, and there's literally like 2 shops and they fight for everything. Well, so like it's the only shop that's ever been like, every other shop is just like, oh yeah, come on by. Like I've sent so many people to shops and like everyone's just like, they want to show off their equipment. They want to show off what they're doing. Like everyone's super open and welcoming.
Yeah, it's been a good community. I mean, that was when I had my business. It was exactly the way you're explaining, Grizzly. I mean, I one time ran out of ink. It was late at night, and I was calling around to other shops locally. It was in the LA area, and I finally hit a couple of people that are open. I'm like, hey, I'm at Reviation. I got the shop down the street. I ran out of white. There's nowhere I can go get this. Can I come buy some from you? It's not like I'm asking for it for free, but I had the phone hung up on me twice. I finally found someone that would actually sell it to me. I get there. He's got half of a gallon of white. Mind you, this is, I don't know, 9-10 years ago. And he wanted $280 for the half gallon that was left. And I'm like, dude, you're going to be kidding me. But it was this very closed off place. And I don't see that in our community. It feels very open. I mean, I've never had anyone that's not willing and wanting not only to open their doors, but to teach. And I think that's something that's really cool. And everyone's trying to learn too, which is even cooler.
I wonder what he did with that $280. Maybe he bought tickets to Medieval Times or something. I don't know how expensive that is.
We were close to Medieval Times, so that could have made sense. So on your journey, did you start manually?
Yeah, I started. Honestly, I think it's the only thing I've really kept because I've resold most things, but I started with a 1-color silver press, and it's in the back of the shop under the rack back there.
So your progression then went from, I mean, really almost a hobby setup to then getting, I'm assuming, a larger manual setup from there, and then going into automation.
Look, if I'm completely honest, I tell everybody this is a hobby that's gotten way out of control. Like this was only ever a hobby, and it just, I mean, it's very rare to find a hobby that pays you, and when it just keeps increasing, it's like, damn it, I can't stop doing this yet. Like, I mean, the money wasn't the driving force, but it is pretty cool because I don't think there's as many industries as there used to be where you can actually do something pretty rad and make a good living at it if you structure it right.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's my brain pings all over the place. So if I go blank for a minute, y'all just go ahead and shift topics.
Well, we also, I mean, we go on live a lot later in the evening, like 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, and he's just hammering out hats every single time I'm talking to him. So it's 24 hours for him. It's not just a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
it turns into that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, definitely.
How soon? The healthiest angle, but I'm a trash kid from Florida whose dad was an auto mechanic, and one of the worst things in life is being broke, and I've been broke my whole life pretty much, and having a family. That's really the main motivation. Is I do all this for them. It's like I'd be fine living in a trailer by the river eating beanie weenie every day, but I'm not by myself.
How soon into your journey did you move from manual to auto?
So I started in the garage, a 1-car garage in Florida. I mean, it's so crazy to even think that. I mean, I walk in my shop now, and it's not a massive shop at all, but I'm like, pardon my French, but I'm like, how the fuck did I get all this stuff? Like, it's just like, it started with a silver press and like 2 screens. And I started printing that 1-car garage. And my wife's from Florida, and we were very blessed to have an opportunity where they had a family property out there. And like, I mean, I needed some space. I couldn't fit anything else in that little garage. I mean, I worked a warehouse job. I mean, we were broke. We had 1 car, 2 kids. I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. It could have been a show on TLC and might have got some ratings, but went from there, went to Texas. It was like a 2-story house, had about, I don't know, 500, 600 square feet. I think that I worked at UPS when I was younger, and I remember they offered a buyout on a retirement, and it was only like $5,000. And I sold our Honda Element because where we lived, it wasn't crucial to need a car. Took that money, bought, I think it was a Workhorse, like 6.4. And then I went from that to a Sidewinder. And then we moved here like 5.5 years ago. It was summer of 2016. And then, I'll be honest, I really tried to pace myself here. And this is not a huge city, but I'm still kind of trying to hide. Like, I have nothing on my building. Like, you can't get to me. I will not answer anybody more if it's really not by reference for the most part. Not because I don't want to answer everybody, but like, I'm not going to let the quality unravel to try and take every dollar. And I always say money changing hands is not the same thing as making money. Like, just working is not mean you're actually making money. You could be losing your ass going in debt. But yeah, that's a long story long on that, I guess.
It's interesting you say that, man. It's cool that you truly have like intention in what you're doing. I think, it's a struggle in business a lot of times to not just want to say yes to everything under the sun, because you are trying to make money. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, you're trying to provide for your family or, whatever your business motivations are. But to actually understand that, I think, is a whole nother story. I think there's so many people that, get into business, whatever business it is, and, you're just trying to appease because you think that that's the way that, you actually make money. But you're right. Half of the time that's what causes you problems, and you end up losing more money than you make. So good for you, man. That's actually really, some knowledge that everyone should take away from this talk. Figure out why you're doing it and what your intention is, and model your business based off of that, instead of just opening a business and taking all the work that you can.
That's one of the things I respect. That's why Grizz, I think, I respect him so much, and I feel like we've kind of developed a good,
Rob.
No, buddy. I think we developed a good kinship because I really respect the fact that, he's a quality over quantity kind of guy. He'll turn down work. He focuses on the quality. And I think a lot of shops, that do that find that, they're going to have a better life by producing a higher quality product they can sell for a higher dollar amount. Then they're more well respected. Anyone can pump out one color plastisol prints, all day long on cheap garments. And it's like, that's cool. And if that works for people, that's their market, that's great. But I think I really dig what Grizzly's doing, because he really does focus on being like a really high quality printer. And the fact that he's, we're going to get into some questions about his water-based, kind of ideas, but I think that's really huge. And I think, when you talk to people these days, when I do anyway, I should say, like, everyone's like, oh, I don't mess with water-based. It's scary. It's hard. It's difficult. I don't want to do it. But like, for me, like, just as a person, a consumer, like, I don't want to buy plastisol printed shirts. Like, I don't like it. Like, if I go to a store and I see a discharged water-based shirt, I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I'll buy that over anything else. And so,
you should buy some more shirts then, Rob.
I should buy some more shirts. I should. Actually, I'm in the process of moving right now, and it's the same situation with your shoe situation when you moved, as I just filled up 3 boxes full of shirts. I was like, man, I think I've been getting lots of shirts from these trade shows over the years, because I just have.
I only ever see you in like 7 different shirts. I thought you only had so you got boxes. Bring them out, man. Let's see these things.
Well, see, what happened was, with COVID, your boy put on a couple of pounds. So now we've got shirts that I'm going to wear in like 6 months with these lifestyle changes. And we got the shirts that I wear now. And we got the shirts I'm going to wear in like a year and a half that'll fit then.
Hashtag goals, man.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Speaking of garments, I've been waiting on that delivery there, Josh.
Yeah, I've got a couple direct messages that I forgot about, but your stuff is literally sat aside at the house. Right. So it's insane for me right now, because I've been holding off about 6 months. We bought a property this summer. It has a shop on it, but I want to expand it. There you go. I'm going to expand it. You can wear that one to the mall to chill in the food court in. But did I send? I didn't even know I sent you all that. Good job. Now you don't like the Iron Sheik. But no, like it's crazy right now because I'm kind of spread all over. I finally committed to finishing the shop because this freaking inflation is killing me. And I think the longer I wait, the worse it's going to get. So they started that this week. So I've got stuff scattered at the house, the shop in town. I'll be transitioning stuff into that shop. So stuff is literally sitting on the table. I just have to put it in a bag and send it.
I want stuff now too. Yeah, actually. So while everyone's showing off their gear, I mean, just add another name to the list of chaos.
Yeah, I have a lot of address. I'll shop some friends that send stuff, and like I was telling you, I'm just gonna have it set up here for people to see, like some of the cool rock shops that we work with.
That'd be awesome.
Nice.
So Rob was talking about quality. You were talking about quality, how it's important to you, and obviously it's the most important to you. How did your ROQ kind of come into that equation? So as you're building this business, you go automated, you're looking at presses, was that a piece that was important to you in terms of keeping that quality? Or was it a different reason entirely?
So, I mean, I could go on forever nobody in a professional industry wants to badmouth anything else. I mean, it's kind of cheap to just take shots, but I started doing research on it. I bought a Sportsman new, like probably a year before COVID, leased it. Kind of had some issues with it. It just never quite got right dealing with technicians. Maybe I just got a bad one. I don't know. It happens. It's machines, cars, they all have variables in them that we can't, control everything 1,000%. But the ROQ kind of COVID hit and I kind of entered my head and I'm looking at trying to, you got to understand from my perspective, I bought a house in Florida 6 months before 2008 happened and watched my entire life change overnight. So that changed my entire outlook on finances. And so I was looking at my situation with the Sportsman and I've been busier, just constantly busier through all this, which is an insane blessing. A lot of people are, but I know there's probably some people that aren't, that didn't expect it. But I kind of started researching ROQ and I contacted Rob and honestly, I know you hear things, oh, it prints better this way. And until I actually got it in and really, I probably had it, I don't know, Rob, what has it been, about a year and some change. I think I've had it set up because it sat on the floor for a while because I got rid of the Sportsman and brought them. But I can't say enough as a person who actually works on it. I talked to my buddy Gabe he goes by Maybe Tomorrow on Instagram. He just got a next in New York. I would say that I'm beyond burned out. I'm still in love with print. And I always tell people as long as it's still magic to me, I'll do it. And it is. But the romance is dead at the moment because it's just, you got to get the stuff out. But having that ROQ actually, no bullshit, made me enjoy printing again. Because there's just so many things about it and I've made videos for buddies to send them to be like, here, just watch this. And my buddy Jeff at Evergood Merch out in near Sacramento, he just got his set up and he worked on workhorses at his uncle's facility. And me and Gabe literally sat on the phone 2 hours of the night just talking about how some French, how the fuck did we not know? How does the industry not know more than it does that this tool is out there? It's not double the price. And I have a buddy here, Brandon, who comes down and helps me every month or so. And he works at Codis in Cincinnati, which has a shop in Salt Lake. And, they're all M&R. And since he's been here with me, he's worked on the ROQ. And it's just we just laugh. And I know he's probably a little sad when he has to go back and work on the M&R. But again, I could go on. You can ask Rob. I'll start ranting about the good things about it. But it is an enjoyable tool to use to make t-shirts.
Appreciate that, man. Well, and I we're hoping to get more people to know about it. That's,
well, it seems like there is.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah. We're definitely getting there. And it's people like you, and it is that ROQ family, I think, that is our most valuable asset. I know that, Rob's told me, And I even have it as a bullet point here on this show that, I mean, you've really become an ambassador, for the company and for the product. And that's something, special. And I mean, for us, when we launched, ROQ US and have, really been getting out in the market in a different way, the whole partner in print, which is our slogan or whatever you want to call it. I mean, really it's a value more than anything. And you're the epitome of that, right? It's a true partnership where, I think before the show started, you said you talked to Rob, last week for a few hours. You guys talk all the time. You talked to Richard a bunch. You guys are in podcasts together. I mean, it's really cool to see a product kind of bring people together, in that way. And it's a tool, but if it's a good tool and the people behind it, you believe in them and we clearly believe in you. It means more than that. That's awesome. Appreciate that.
No, I appreciate that. And I wouldn't say I'm a businessman. I'm a printer who has to figure out how to run a business. But as a person that runs a business, if you're going to run somewhat of a healthy business, you have to, more now than ever, you better be very conscious of decisions you're making when you're laying out 5-6 figures. And when I find a product, no bullshit, and it is just a solid product, I will preach it to the masses because it's a fact. And I mean, without getting too dirty birdie or whatever, but I've had pretty in-depth conversations with Danny at formerly Denver Print House or at Daybirds just about the MHM and the ROQ. And I just feel like after analyzing all that, I just feel like the ROQ is like a better overall product to invest in long term, because there's pros and cons to every brand. But I mean, and I'm one that goes deep on research and just really looking at every strategic angle. And I mean, there's so many with the ROQ that, and me and Rob have talked about this, that I find and I discover when I'm thinking, well, that one works this way, but you just can't beat the way this one works, even though they're trying to sell over here that you can do a little quicker. Well, those seconds are great, but it's the universal functionality of the tool and the applications that can be used with it that is most important. So, I mean, I'm a salesman as well. So you find your points and you push them hard and you try and hide the downsides, but there just isn't many with the ROQ, and that's just the God honest truth. And I'm not saying that. I wasn't paid to say that if anybody's listening.
I think that as you level up as well and you go perfect, to the next press, to get a next or an eco, you're going to be blown away at the functions that those presses have.
Yeah.
So be ready for that, man. You're going to be blown away all over again and fall in love all over again.
Well, we're just continuing to add, which is awesome. I mean, we've got ROQ Connect, which will hopefully be out, later this year. All of our presses will have, connectivity on Wi-Fi. You're going to be able to get data out. You're going to be able to send data in. It's just that constant innovation that, I think is what is part of what sets us apart, at least, which is nice. And something we care about because it's more about your business than it is about everything that we do to the tool is there to make you more profitable, or make your life easier, which is nice. It's not really a gratuitous thing for us, which I think a lot of companies get into is oh, our equipment's better because of X, Y, and Z. Well, does that really actually help the person using it? Or is that just some sales feature that, you're adding to your product? So,
which is what I really dig. And, Grizzly, ever since we met, we, like I said, we talk all the time but the people that, we go back to that, ambassador type situation, if someone calls me and they're like, I'm thinking about maybe getting a ROQ, I'm not really sure, I'm looking at other things and you don't really know what's going on, I'm like, hey, listen, if you want to talk to somebody, especially if they're from the South, but I mean, really just in general, anyone, but I'm like, if you want to talk to someone, I'm like, if anyone's going to give you the no nonsense, straight, to the core, what's really going on, it's going to be Josh. And those people that talk to Josh come back and be like, dude, yeah, no, it totally makes total sense. Like everything he said, because he has no motivation behind what he's saying. He's strictly going from I'm a sole operator of this press. I try to print high quality, and this is my experience, and this is why I did what I did. And he shoots him straight. And those people like Jeff McGuire at Evergood, and the list is pretty long at this point. I don't know if I'll put everybody out there, but they make these jumps and they buy these machines and they just fall in love. And I have the same relationship now with Jeff that I have with Grizzly. And I think it's that same networking of just like no nonsense, not trying to be pitchy or salesy, just being like, this is what it does, and this is why I think it's cool. And
all transparency, man. There's no need to ever take a dig at anyone else's stuff. It's like, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we can do. And you either love it or you don't, but at least we were honest about it. And that is our goal. So well said, Rob. Well said.
Cheers.
Well, with that, let's take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will continue to wheel and deal with Grizzly Wheeler. We'll be right back.
We stand behind our products and your business, which is why we've extended our unmatched 3-year rock-solid warranty to the Rock Sahara conveyor dryer. Discover what worry-free automation feels like online at rock.us or call 187-ROCKET now. That's 877-674-8669.
Want to welcome everybody back to Rock Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today, we are talking about Wheelin Dealin with Mr. Grizzly Wheeler, aka Josh. I'm ROQ US President Ross Hunter. Alongside me here today is Mr. Richard Tilley. We also have our creative producer, Mr. Merrill Capps, and our sales extraordinaire, Mr. Robert Welch. Welcome back, everyone.
Baba G. Thank you so much for joining us. Over the break, we heard from Robot Dust. If you'd like to hear sweet music like you just heard, please visit robotdust.net. That's .net, ROBOTDUST, Robot Dust, and follow Robot Dust on Twitter and YouTube. Bobby G, tell us a little bit about this Robot Dust story. Where's it come? What kind of things happen? What's next?
So, I went to audio engineering school, and I thought I was going to be an audio engineer. And this was right when Guitar Center was like really exploding, and you could go basically buy a home recording studio for like $5,000, and people stopped going to recording studios. So when I graduated, all the studios that I interned at were going dark. People weren't paying $10,000 to go record an album in a studio. So I'd gotten all this knowledge and wasn't doing anything with it. And I'd always kind of made beats and stuff in the background and kind of, messed around with music production. And me and my bandmate, Kenny Corrales, shout out to Kenny, amazing bass player. Him and I had been making beats and selling beats online for like 7 or 8 years. And we just had all this kind of leftover stuff that wouldn't really fit for vocals. And we decided, because we both are like big fans of like the science fiction genres of like Terminator and like Matrix, where like, and Raymond Kurzweil, the singularity about like the evolution of technology and taking over society, what have you. So we were like, and we both dug instrumental music. Like, it's really hard to tell us. It's really easy to tell a story when you have a vocalist and lyrics, because the vocalist can give you a mood. The lyrics are telling the story. The music is the mood, but like we really dig instrumental music. So like Massive Attack, RJD2, Blockhead, people that were like telling these stories through music without anything else. So we kind of put all that together and released. We did a Kickstarter in 08. Was that right? Oh, no, 2011 maybe. Did a Kickstarter for the first album, put that out, and that was kind of like a combination of songs that were kind of left over from these different, productions for other people. And then spent 8 years making this last album we released this past October, entitled The Singularity. And it's really us telling a story sonically. That's something you kind of want to, put on headphones and, light a candle and like lay back and just listen to and like take the journey.
Which I have done
out of it.
And I highly recommend. And you can also find this killer print Robot Dust t-shirt at robotdust.net. Thank you for that, Rob. Thank you for sharing your art with us. And thanks, Grizzly Wheeler, for joining us in this awesome talk today. Ross, you had a question earlier about the rock iron you want to talk about.
Well, yeah, I'll get to that. But I got to say, we need to do like a mini talents of rock. Like we need to do a talent show because
I like that.
Rob's dropping albums. Daryl just got on stage at Impressions and
killed it
with Gallo and took his harmonic out and just blew everyone's mind. I mean, there's so many talented people on this team that do different things. Like we need to put something together so everyone can see it. That'd actually be kind of fun.
I could be into that.
You should see Merrill is fantastic with watercolors.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I love it. Our own Bob Ross
and dad jokes.
that is true. So Josh, you've been a huge advocate for the rock iron. You also do a lot of water-based printing. Just kind of how did you go there? What was the journey getting into a water-based? And then, there's tons of attachments, different things you can go on these presses. How do you dig in? Obviously, you research a lot. You've talked about that. So how do you dig in, find these tools that you need? What do those tools do for you? And what has that done for your business and your sales and your strategy, et cetera?
So I kind of got into water base. I've probably gotten everything backwards because most people start with plastisol. On the designer I met, he would print shirts for like musicians, and I would trade him like design work to help him with labor. And he happened to use like the Union inks and the speedballs you can get from the art store and stuff. And it's funny because once in a while we connect and talk about how insanely goofy that setup was we had because we just had a flash dryer thinking that we were doing this stuff right. But that's how I got into water base. And I mean, kind of like Rob, like there's a place for plastisol for sure. I mean, with hoodies and things like that, I wouldn't say it's as monumental a feel with plastisol versus water base, but there is maybe a slight difference in the vibrancy or the wash fastness over time, maybe. But got into water base kind of backwards, and I don't know. I'm kind of one of those people where I try and use my hard headedness to my advantage, and so when I feel like doing the easy. If something's really easy, I mean, I teach my kids, for example. I'll probably make references like this because I take that more seriously than anything in the entire world. Is how I invest in them and teach them, but I tell them if something's easy, it's probably not worth investing in very much because there's probably not going to be that much of you're not going to sow much from what you reap with that, the time you put into it. So not in every case, but with water base, it's definitely not as plug and play as plastisol can be. And I just feel the product is better. So that's how I got into water base. And I'm probably going to ramble a little bit, so I'm sorry. Just pretend I'm Rob for a minute, and then
thank you for the joke.
I ramble. I'm way worse than Rob, but no. So I got into water base that way, and then just as anybody can go out there most likely and print 25 perfect looking t-shirts, but if you don't really have the experience, and I mean, I still have a ton to learn, always will. I mean, I'm a dwarf compared to some of these shops like Liquid Graphics and stuff these people put out. It just blows my mind at the volume they put out. But anybody can do like 25 shirts and probably do water base and probably pull them off. And but can you do 500? Can you do 1,000? And the difference between water base and the plastisol is I tell people water base is real time. You can't goof around. you don't really need that many additives if you know how to go out there and create the proper environment in your shop and just get after it and not have a bunch of delays because of stoppage. And the rock iron, getting to that, one of the biggest problems when you're on discharge, particularly, I mean, it could be any graphic, but bigger graphics with larger areas are like a giant lake. And there's lots of factors, your adhesive level, the heat, all the stuff. Are you getting a swamp on your pallet because the condensation, all that stuff? But one of the biggest problems when you're doing that is you have, I call them lint boogers. You have ink, they get in the mesh and they block things. And like some printers will let it fly. There's a point of diminishing returns where you're being so ridiculous. I mean, there is nothing ever left the shop. I've had stuff that I won't release and the client looks at it as like, I can't find what you're talking about. And so I feel like my tolerance level is a safe place, but I still want perfection, even though that's very rare. But obviously, you've seen people do the tape thing off the screen and all that stuff. And like, that's great. But yeah, you're going to fill that up like a lint roller in about 2 revolutions. So that's not a solution. And then you have the Stampinator, which I have not used, but when I was looking at the two, the Stampinator probably has a hidden advantage because if you do it right, you probably can pull off heat pressing and do transfers at a faster production speed with that. But I'm not really trying to do that on my press. So with the rock iron, the fact that I can get in a recessed area like a hoodie tighter than a Stampinator because you're going to have the ridges of your seams. What it did for us is I used to run it, as a smoothing iron, but with water base, it does make it feel a little bit smoother, but not significant enough to justify using it that way. So we shifted it to the first head and we just press everything for the most part, even totes at times. And what it's done is we do a lot of reorders and we've had jobs, every run's 500 to 1,000 pieces for that client, same graphic. And before that iron, you can ask my wife and kids that helped me. It was a nightmare because you just have stoppage every revolution. There's a lint booger. And that iron,
knocking all the fibrillation down before you do anything.
It doesn't mean that it eliminates it 1,000%, but we run 1,000 shirts and we lose 1 shirt maybe, and we have no stoppage. And again, if you're doing totes, you need to shake them off, things like that. If anybody's listening to it that technically to get, we just ran like 1,500 totes last night and this morning, and we use the iron, but that's what we use it for mainly. And it particularly with discharge, we have almost no stoppage at all. And I'm not saying the Stampinator may not do that. I don't know. I haven't used it, but when I look at the strategic advantage of what I'm trying to do with it, and the hot and I had the hot head on M&R. Not trying to badmouth, but that shit's a joke. That's like a test tube iron. That thing is not even hold a candle to the rock iron. Like the rock iron is probably 2 to 3 times bigger. And the problem also with the hothead is it's fixed in that bracket. What we ran into when we used it, which we had the flat one, we didn't have the roller, but we would wrinkle shirts and we had to stop using it because it's fixed. So it drags across that shirt and you're never going to have it perfectly plain. That's all eliminated with the rock because it moves and it adjusts to the object, which is also why I bought the iron, because if you had an issue at all with the plane of your palette and that Stampinator, you're going to have inconsistencies. I'm not going to have that with the iron.
All right.
That's
maybe you'll win a Stampinator and then we can talk about that too.
Am I eligible to win one?
I tagged Custom Ink in that giveaway. I don't know if that helped at all.
Oh, I don't know how they're selecting, but I know if you tagged, you're entered. So you got a good chance.
By the time this episode drops, we should know the winner on Instagram.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. We don't know it yet.
I've got some Krispy Kreme gift cards if that can sweeten the pot at all.
I'm a donut fan, so that I don't know.
Go on.
That might do some damage.
I don't actually have them on me, but I can be to the store in 15 minutes.
Okay.
I can DoorDash.
I would recommend though getting a Stampinator at some point though. It is an amazing tool as well.
I'm actually talking to Rob, like I'm in the with the new shop. I want the oval, but right now, because I'm going to have to expand my shop again. There's a second phase where I'm going to expand it. So my shop will be like an L. And at that point, an oval would work perfectly. And if I hold off that long, I may go that route. But looking at getting a bigger press so the cool downs help more. And if I do, Stampinator definitely could benefit because there's spaces to utilize it. And in our shop, we rarely do over 3-4 colors. I mean, we're really a more spot color retail, like downtown Charleston's a very kind of, I guess, upper crust type environment. So a Daytona NASCAR shirt isn't really their flavor. They want like 1 or 2 colors. And so that's mainly our bread and butter. Just low color, spot color stuff.
When you do get your press, I'd like to be your installer.
Come on down.
Well, you guys will have to go live together, and Grizzly should comment as you guys are together on your podcast. I think that would be actually fantastic.
Troll his own podcast.
You got to bring those guys up from Florida because I'm such a dumbass. Like, I'm horrible with names. I take so much repetition. But the guys that Rob sent, I mean, Buck's easy to remember because his name's Buck. But the guys that Rob hooked up they're badasses.
We gotta shout them out. Mike.
I think it was Mike. Yeah, Mike's here too. He actually was helping us set up the studio right before we went.
Who was the other guy with him? Is he the one that's running the facility in Florida? Or
Jason.
I saw him in the video. Yeah,
Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, those guys were just complete badasses. And I haven't seen you work yet, King Tilley, but I'm sure you're just as good.
Well, I learned from them.
He's pretty great. Yeah, those were his mentors.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, I definitely felt very taken care of in like a non-red light district way. But yes.
I like how Rob said twice. He's trying to get a word in. He's trying to get a word in edgewise, and like we're actually showing him how this feels when we listen to him for 25 to 30 minutes without a pause button. So go ahead, Rob. Come on in, man.
Rob, do you have something to say?
I do. So
actually, I had one more point. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Please go ahead, Josh.
I'm just.
Oh, sorry, Rob. Are you saying something?
Phenomenal.
Go ahead.
Phenomenal. What's funny out there, listeners, is that before we started recording, this was predetermined that this is how this podcast was going to go. So you think these guys are being funny on the spot, but they planned on being an asshole to me the whole time. So
it's an interesting tact. Right. Not bad. Okay.
But no, I wanted to jump in. So we did a campaign. Oh God, this is right when COVID hit. We did like a ROQ solo campaign because a lot of people, a lot of shops were, having to downsize and having to, cut personnel and kind of just try to squeak by right in the beginning of it all. And so we were really kind of focused on, how to streamline your processes, ways you can automate certain things that they can help that if you're not able to keep that labor. What's interesting about your situation though is that you rock solo on purpose. Like, that's your thing. And I already kind of touched on a few things about, the quality over quantity and such, but really kind of want to ask about, what does that feel? What does that mean to you to, be not only the labor, but the QC and the relationship and the sales and owning the whole aspects of your brand and your business? What does that mean to you? What do you take away from it? What do those relationships mean to you? And just want to touch on that.
See if I can figure. So, being a solo shop wasn't. So when we were in Texas, we were looking where do we want to go? We looked at any major market, Nashville. I particularly enjoy working with artists and creatives because I feel like we're similar oddballs in most cases, and I really respect. I'm blown away by the fact that all the people we get to work with 10, 12 years ago, the guy that got me into this, I started discovering these people. And over time, I've become friends with these people. And it's really weird because I joke with my wife, it's like I've lived 2 different lives now. Because 12 years ago, I was in a completely different place. And working with the artists, and that was always a goal, but didn't think that it would ever happen like it has. But when we were in Texas, we were kind of trying to figure out where do we want to go. And when I do anything, success means different things to different people. For me, it just means making something work and be viable like that. It's not about the dollar amount. It's that it's working. Like I always joke about that scene in Hook where he's like, "You're doing it, Peter." Like, I mean, I think about that all the time when I like pull something off that I didn't think was going to happen. But I was in the Coast Guard like 20 years ago and stationed here in Charleston. So I kind of knew the lay of the land a little bit, which is always a little easier than just going somewhere blind that you have no idea the layout, the market, any of that. And there was a really great creative nucleus here in Charleston. Very high concentration of like that type of talent in a smaller area. And so I started coming in and out of town for about a year in marketing here. And the downside to that is, number one, I never thought in a million years I'd even be in the position I'm in. Like, so that's number one. So not thinking about it progressing as quickly as it has to where I'm at now, I didn't really think about labor and what's the talent pool look like in that area. And it's not to say there aren't talented people in Charleston, but this is a little different habitat in terms of it's not a blue collar-ish type town. So it's a lot more difficult to find. I would love, like Brandon, I mean, he flies in and I mean, he's out there right now just crushing shit because he's just very, very, he's a complete fucking unicorn. And we followed each other on Instagram and he pinged me. I'm like, if you want to come down, dude, like I'd love to have you. And I'm trying, like, let me announce it here. I'm trying to put together a print paratrooper program. So if anybody's down, wants to make some cheddar and come to Charleston, like we're in the process. But
so wait, hold on. So print paratrooper is this is people that fly in, they jump out of a plane, they pop open a chute, they land at your shop, and they print your jobs.
They jump out of the plane before he lands
and go home.
Yeah, I fly him down. He'll be here till Saturday night. We bust shit out for like 4. I mean, we do 2 weeks worth of work in 3 or 4 days, and then he goes back.
That's awesome.
But I mean,
so you're basically looking for the best of the best to come fly in, print with you to your standards, your quality.
I mean, if you're not a problem solver, you're not going to be in business very long. And what's the problem right now? Labor, humans. You can automate all you want, but there's a point where it's going to require a human that can retain more than a list of 10 things and replicate it. So instead of sitting here wasting a shit ton of money, bringing people in, trying to train them, because it's not a perfect science, but I'm sure there's shops that have amazing processes on getting someone up to speed. I'm looking at what we're all dealing with, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, ooh, what, like, okay, that's what we're fucking dealing with. So what's the solution? And to me, that's a solution, and it works. It's working.
Brilliant.
And I mean, I just that and I don't know. It's a solution. It's not an option to not fucking move forward and figure it out. I don't look at failure is not an option because of my family. So that's the motivation to solve the problem.
Something you just said, Josh, is bringing people up to speed on the equipment and how to use it. When I had my ROQ, I was teaching someone on a manual and they made so many errors. But when I brought them over to the auto side, it was so easy to train them from somebody who had no idea how to use this machine to being really good at it for me to walk away and trust that the job's going to get done right. I think that that's something that the ROQ did for me in my shop personally was expedite that process. How do you feel about that, Josh?
Yeah, no, I mean, so this is the third time Brandon's come. By the end of the first trip, which was 4 or 5 days, I mean, he was pretty much never using a ROQ. Comfortable. The second trip, he's already setting everything up, which he's a printer, but had never touched a ROQ. And the third trip, I'm not even doing anything. He's just rock and rolling out there. I just have everything prepped. Like I have everything prepped, screens, inks, and you just line them up and knock them down. That's the point of buying a bigger press is just more shit can be lined up at once and just mowed down. And I will say this as well. Anybody can do that. But again, you're not going to make any money if they're out there fucking up half of that stuff. And I get sick to my stomach when I see a bunch of waste. I mean, we have almost, I would say less than a 1% loss rate on anything anymore with water-based because I've made almost not all the mistakes, knock on wood, but I pretty much made all the ones that'll hem you up if you're trying to get volume out the door and in the damn box and to the client. I mean, if you're not doing that, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't have angel investors. Like, I gotta make this shit work. It's just failure's not an option. Like, I'm not even going to consider that. And then eventually when I'm just, a few years from now, when I'm just totally toasted, maybe I'll do something else. I don't know. That's a ways down the road.
Well,
that was interesting.
Did
you want to go to?
Yeah, hold your thought for a minute. We'll take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will talk more wheeling and dealing with Grizzly. We'll be right back.
Did you know that every ROQ automatic screen printing press and now every ROQ Sahara conveyor dryer comes fully protected with the rock solid warranty? All replacement parts, labor, shipping, and necessary technician travel comes at no additional cost for 3 solid years, so you can rock steady with the peace of mind that your operation is guarded. It means everything to us to be your partner in print, and we intend on continuing to demonstrate how much we value your partnership. Find out more at roq.us or call 1-87-ROCKET now. That's 877-674-8669.
Want to welcome everybody back to Rock Shop Talk, your one-stop rock shop where we talk all things screen printing. Today, we are wheeling and dealing with Mr. Grizzly Wheeler. Alongside me here in Florida podcast studios, Mr. Richard Tilley. We also have our creative producer, Mr. Merrill Capps, and our sales extraordinaire, Rob, the Bobby Grapejuice Welch. Welcome back, everyone.
Yo, welcome back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Over the break, we again heard from Robot Dust. To hear more awesome tunage like you just heard, please visit robotdust.net and follow Robot Dust on Twitter and YouTube. And you can hear amazing songs by our very own Bobby G right here in the house. Thank you so much.
You can actually stream the album on all of your favorite streaming platforms.
And you too can have a
I just wish y'all would do an audio clip and say Bobby, and then when you, instead of saying G, you just play the G unit like Bobby G unit.
I like that. Well, speaking of Bobby G, you wanted to pick up something from the
I want to circle back around what we were talking about before the break. We were kind of talking about quality over quantity, talking about being a kind of a one-man operation. You kind of already went into a bit about your process about setting up and kind of having things dialed in, screens, inks, garments, kind of staging and ready to go, which I think a lot of people could do more of. And I think that's really beneficial for their thing. Wanted to ask you if you had any other kind of tips like that you think are beneficial for people to really kind of fine tune. And I don't want to give away all of your, secrets or, like you said, things that you learned from making mistakes, but any little tips that you think that might be helpful for people, maybe going from manual to auto and using their first auto, that can really help them to streamline kind of setup and cut time.
People have said it like a million times, but it really is true. You have to figure out, like, I'm in this for the long haul. Anything I do, I'm going to try and put everything into. So like, I'm not going to put everything into it for a short gain. I'm in it. Whatever I do is for the long haul. I'm in this for the long haul. So that's the angle I take. It's slow and steady. And so you have to, there's nothing wrong with jumping to something and milking it for all it's worth. That's the beauty of capitalism, because it is a beautiful thing when it's not, abused. But you have to, you really have to figure out, like, what am I doing this for? And what am I trying to get out of this? And once you figure that out, you can start figuring out, well, what's my attack plan, like, to gain that? And I probably couldn't say that for a long time, but again, this was a hobby, and I just wanted to make some cool stuff with a lot of people I admired, and it just happened. But I was strategic in how I went about that. Like, I didn't just come to Charleston. I strategically researched, who do I think are the mover and shakers in this ecosystem, because every single town has it, that are the people that I want to work with. And I would literally make merch packs and walk in these high-end design firms and be standing there with an entire team meeting of people staring out the glass room walls going, who the fuck is this guy? And I would just like say hello with cold sweats and leave a pack. And the irony is, a few months after doing that, I got a call from a designer who went out on his own from that firm and like happened to begin working with a farmer here that is friends with all the celebrity shit, knows everyone nationwide. And like, it's fucking crazy. It's just one little domino fell. And I would say another thing without, I mean, I don't really have anything specific, but like a lot of people, there's no secret to any of this. If there's a secret, it's, can you deliver? Anybody can buy fucking equipment, make a bunch of promises, and just crash and burn. You can do that with anything. You can do it with a pressure washing business, a landscaping, or printing. Like, I like doing this. I like this. And I think that's probably important to generating drive in yourself and passion to dig in deep and make a dent. But yeah, just figure out why are you doing this? What do you want out of it? Or what do you need out of it to justify the investment you're putting into it? And then make a fucking attack plan and go after it. And if it fails, learn from it, fucking do it again. I tell my kids all the time, I'm like, fail fast, learn faster, because you're going to fail. So trying to tiptoe from failing is probably your first mistake. Just jump in that shit. Don't do anything too catastrophic, and then take your licking and learn from it.
Would you recommend the law of reciprocity like you practiced in your situation for other people as well, as far as giving, and then all of a sudden getting back big?
I mean, I guess you just have to dictate to yourself at whatever you're doing. Like, at what point do you feel like you're achieving diminishing returns? And you can do anything too long. Or last night's a perfect example. I mean, we were printing this tote that two colors should have been super easy. I mean, I left it on the back burner because I'm like, oh, this will click right in and go to it. We just finished that at noon today, and I reburned 5 screens because I just couldn't. I'm just not going to accept that result, even though that result was probably absolutely passable. But see, I feel like most people can achieve those results, which means I'm going to be in a crowd of people where I can't really stand out or make a dent. So I got to fucking go above that. I got to like reach deeper, hard, because that creates more security for myself, in my opinion. Like, I really not worried about what anybody else is doing. That's what I do love about this community and this industry, is there is enough work going around, because so you don't have to be like vicious. You don't have to be a bunch of damn honey badgers. I mean, if people are out there stealing work, like, you must not be that good, because I don't have to look for anything anymore. And that's not me bragging about me. That's just me putting everything into this shit because I do it because I want my kids to get older and be like, my dad wasn't a piece of shit. I mean, that's my motivation. And so that fuels me to try and be good at what I do. Because again, I mean, the previous life I lived, like, I remember I used to joke and my wife in the car, like, I'm like, this is how this is going to be for the next 30 years. You might as well put me in the ground, in a joking way. But it's like, this is fucking stupid. This repetitive grind of just trying to chase a dollar. Like, I'm not doing this for 30 more years. So I literally burned my whole life down. I mean, I left Florida and I just took a leap of faith. But that's what I'm saying. If anybody's listening to this and you're down or out and you have drive, and like, I mean, I don't have time to take a bunch of calls all day, and I feel very blessed in that. Not that I wouldn't want to, but like, if my goofy ass can do it, anybody can do it. Like, I'm being dead serious. You just gotta fucking want to do it and just go do it. You really, I mean, man, there's so much, I mean, in the most cliche way to say it, like, a lot of people whine in this place. Like, when I was in the Coast Guard, I went to shitty places. I went to South America. I mean, we'd pick up Haitians in a boat and chain them to a bulkhead. And I'm just looking at this going, what the fuck? These people got Nike on and they're just trying to find a better life. And like, we are very blessed to even for this podcast or this or any of this. And I ain't going to go off on a tangent, but like, whenever you start getting down on yourself and or like boo hoo, just remember like an 8-year-old kid just got ate by a lion trying to get fucking water for his family in Africa. So you ain't got it that bad. Like if you can wake up and have the luxury to make a decision to try to even have an opportunity to better yourself, that's a blessing, like big time. So anyway,
that's true.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I feel like you're, like you say, you fly under the radar, you're choosy with your clients, but I really feel like you've kind of created a brand about yourself. Maybe it's because, of the nickname, whatever it is, but like,
it was an accident.
Do you want to tell us where the Grizzly came from?
I mean, it was like a lot of people. I just had a bright idea when I met the designer friend of mine. Like, I'm going to start a clothing brand. It's going to be successful. And I took the only $400 I had and bought a bunch of American Apparel tri-blends and gave them all away because no one gave a shit. And in the process, the irony was I started learning something. And then some of my father's friends that own businesses he would tell them that I'm messing around with this. And then they paid me to print them stuff. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell? They just pay me to like make them stuff and like a few $100s. Like, what? I was doing this for myself for fun. And like someone paid me for this. And like that to this day blows my mind because I still do this in my garage, like with piddly equipment, just messing around. And like the fact that I make money off of it is like, it's the greatest joke of my entire life. in a non-sarcastic way. Like it's hilarious to me. I mean, again, because the life I was living was like most people. You wake up, you go, you just chasing dollars to pay for shit you think you want or need. And you get trapped in it. And it's I always joke with people. It's like I'm Tim Robbins in Shawshank. I didn't quit spooning through that wall, and I climbed through that shit pipe, and I ain't going back. Like I ain't.
You're on a beach. You're on a beach in Mexico right now.
I'm not quite on a beach in Mexico, but maybe one day I will be.
On your way. Well, I appreciate that sound advice, and yeah, I wanted to first of all thank you for that, and also give chance to Richard here to talk about what Print World is for our listeners here. It's a new podcast presented by ROQ US. Just wanted to introduce you both audiences to bridge that gap. So tell us a little about that and how people can follow along and be involved in that show as well.
Yeah, for me, Print World is more of like a complete lifestyle. Coming on this team, I've been able to meet a lot of different print shop owners and people related in the community, and also other business owners likewise, that I've noticed there's a lot of parallels between other worlds and the print world. And I'm kind of tying the two together. So whether it has to do with fitness, mindset, business structure, just dealing with high level people, I think that there's, like I said, a lot of parallels between the two worlds. And I'm just kind of bridging that gap in a sense, bringing those people into this world so that they can see what we go through and we can see what they go through. And a lot of my guests they're not just print guests. I do want to talk about a lot of techniques and cool stuff with, screen printing equipment, but the people that I talk to on a regular basis, they operate huge companies. And I feel like there's a lot that people in the print world can learn from an outside, perspective. So those are where a lot of my guests are.
Awesome. And how can people follow that show?
Well, I guess we're still working that part out as far as where it can be rolled out. But in the current moment, it's on my YouTube channel. And, I think that we'll probably end up rolling it out through the ROQ platform.
For sure. We'll definitely add a separate channel.
I think he told me,
show too.
I think he told me it was at chatroulette.com/printworld, PRNTWRD.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds like
you don't remember chat roulette from the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's in the AOL chat room, age, sex, location.
It's Omegle now.
Yeah, I used AOL Instant Messenger, but I don't know what that is.
That was like a Russian roulette version of Match.com before Match.com existed.
Okay, there we go.
Lead the
Thanks for that, man. I mean, on that note too, and I think Grizzly's talked a lot about drive, and I kind of want to round out with this thought. The drive, the education, and understanding what you want to do, doing it with intention, and then learning about the tools and everything necessary to get you there is so important. And I don't mean tools like a press. I mean tools like knowledge, right? It's like, you got to come up with the idea. You got to know what you actually want out of it, which I don't think a lot of people do. And then you've got to get knowledge to get you there, right? And so many people in our industry do just stick within the industry, right? It's a small industry. I mean, realistically, there's billions of dollars to be made, but screen printing in general, it's not a huge industry. But going outside of that, meeting other business owners, networking with other people to do other things, I will tell you, in my career, has been the most valuable thing I've ever done. And that's where I've learned the most. You can teach people how to print. I mean, we all know that, just like you said, Grizzly, anyone can go out and buy a press, put it in their garage or put it in a shop, watch some videos, burn some screens, and probably make some crappy t-shirts. I mean, hopefully they would enhance their skills from there, learn a little bit more about printing. But far too often people aren't diving into what is it that they really want out of their business, and then how to get that knowledge to get there. So I really do encourage everyone, attend different types of trade shows, different types of seminars, go meet other people, go to a marketing seminar, not one that's put on by a screen printing company, but just someone that's putting on a marketing thing, and meet other business owners. Those people, I'm in a whole group. I've talked about this before on the show called Vistage, but it's a group of CEOs. We all meet once a month. None of them are in screen printing. None of us are in like industries. There's 16 of us, and we get to talk for 8 hours about our businesses, and they're all different, and they all come with different perspectives and different ideas. And I think, that's what keeps my fire lit and gives me, a lot of the tools that we need to run ROQ. And has nothing to do with screen printing. And so I always like to end on that thought, because it's such an important thing that I don't think we talk enough about in this industry as we're doing podcasts, as we're educating people, and we do look up to the Josh Merrills of the world. Josh got there by networking. Mm-hmm. I mean, straight up. And he got there by putting himself out there, just like Grizzly did, walking into an ad agency and dropping off a press kit, and then getting, crazy business too much later. And those are the things that people are scared to go do. So take note on that. Like, if you're listening out there, it's just such an important thing. With that thought, Grizzly, I want to give you a chance. Where can people find you, follow you, learn about you, talk to you, learn about the company, etc.?
Just grizzlywheeler.com is like the website. It's not super robust. And then I tell most people, if they want to see what we do, it's just Instagram's our probably best portfolio spot. Just Grizzly Wheeler on Instagram. And then I have a Twitter, but I don't tweet because I'm not that important. I have a Facebook, but I'm not a real big fan of drama. So I only like to troll in the print groups, because if it makes anybody laugh, it was worth it. And then I go back to work.
Well, I've definitely had some laughs. So thank you for that, man. I actually laughed nonstop on your last podcast when you were on. The comments were like off the wall hilarious. So keep that up, because I'm enjoying it, man. Yeah.
What's funny is when I'm doing those interviews, I see everything you're saying, and I have to literally hold it in 99%. And what sucks is that it's super distracting, because I'm trying to pay attention to the person that I'm communicating with. And I'll see what you say, and I just start cracking up in my head, and I'll totally forget they were even talking about to even have like a good response. So it's like I have to fight you in order to make sure I'm paying attention to them, and I love it. I
just feel like we're like a DVD cop, like straight to video sequel to Over the Top, and I'm just trying to get you to grin, and then when you grin, then I'll leave.
Yeah, I know you see it.
I know the last time it was all about gift cards And I forget what restaurant you kept talking about, but it was like over and over. I just couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything, but it was absolutely hilarious. So I appreciate the humor, man.
Like for real though, for real, I feel weird calling you Richard because you're King Tilley, but I'm gonna call you Richard. But like, I legit, the little bit you shared with me specifically, it seems like you maybe had some transitional moments in your life, and some people experience that and some don't. But like, I do very much I'm very much inspired and enjoy watching your push forward and how you're evolving. Like, it's very, I mean, none of us are anybody. This isn't the Joe Rogan experience, but like, I'm only sitting here because of some mesh and some ink, and like, that's the last thing I want to say is like, it could be screen printing, it could be anything, but like, I wish so much like the whole world could just hear that anything is possible. Like, we all start in a different place in the starting line, but like, and I only speak about things that I've lived through or been on the other side of, being depressed or being any of that. Like, it's crazy to me that I'm just sitting here talking to you guys. Like, this is all because I just made a choice to try to be decent at something. And in a world that's full of a lot of half-ass shit, I think there's something to that, and it could be anything. Like, true. So yeah, I mean, I just want, being in the military, boot camp is just purely psychological. It's physical, it's psychological, because your body will do what your mind tells it to do. And the first thing they do is they break you down and they show you some shit. And it's not about the military. It's just the exercise in which they show you, you're going to do this. And you're like, no, the hell I'm not. And then a little bit down the road, you do it, and then you do it and you're fine. And then you're like, holy shit, I never thought I could do that. And I did it. What the hell else? How much further can I go? And like that, I think you can land you can have a really amazing experience in this, in life, wherever you are, if you try and maintain that approach. And again, if my corny ass can do anything, anybody can do anything.
It's a matter of controlling your story. You know, I think a lot of people don't control their story. They allow the universe and whatever to just kind of control their day. When you, like you said, you know where you're going, you can kind of reverse engineer a plan to get there. And you just go and go and go, no matter what. Like you said, fail, you know, adjust, pivot, keep going, just keep going. And you'll get there.
Also, I think like what Ross was saying, like, I'll add to this, like, it's okay to not know. Like, I think we're living in a time where everybody's trying to find that PDF hidden on Google that's going to give you all the bullet points to shortcut straight to the result or the destination. And like, don't take that route, even if you find it, because you're either not going to appreciate it because you didn't go through anything to get it. But like, it's also okay to not know. I still don't know a lot of shit. But like, so many people just give up or quit or never even start because maybe they don't think it's okay to fail. It's not okay to fuck up. We all fuck up. It's okay. Like, so don't be discouraged or feel like you're not moving in a positive direction just because it takes you a minute to figure something out. Like that, I see it with my kids. Like, my kids are in high school, and I'm just like, the way that some people see things and they get so crushed, and it's like, you just want to hug them and be like, it's okay. Like, really, it's all right. Yeah. Like, it's okay to fail. It's okay.
It's really being bold with integrity and humility.
No, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
There it is.
Well, on that note, I wanted to thank you, Josh, for spending this time with us today. It was awesome. Richard, thanks for coming in. Thanks for putting together the studio out here in Florida. Excited to use it today. Rob, as always, man, thank you. And thanks for rocking the gear there, made by Mr. Grizzly himself, and Merrill Capps. Always a pleasure to
likewise, sir.
Be on a podcast. Maybe one day again we can sit next to each other. It's been a while.
Perhaps.
We're getting close to that happening again. To all you printers out there, anyone else listening, thanks for joining us today on Rock Shop Talk. Continue to press onward, and Rock on.
Cheers all. Rock on. Thanks to Josh Wheeler of Grizzly Wheeler and Rob Bobby Grapejuice Welch of Robot Dust for joining us today. As always, thank you for spending time with us this week, and thank you for trusting us as your partner in print. Tune in at your convenience wherever you listen to your podcast by searching Rock Shop Talk. If you'd like to request to be on the show, please visit rock.us/rockshoptalk. If you found today's episode helpful, please recommend it to a friend who you think may find it helpful as well. Please like, share, and subscribe on social media. And until next time, rockers, press onward.